If you've been running Facebook ads this year, you've probably at least heard at some point how important ad creatives are for the overall success of your Facebook ad account. And if for some reason you haven't heard that, let me tell you, ad creatives are probably one of the most important things for your actual ad account in order to see success. But the thing is so many people struggle to actually create ads that can convert. I remember when I first stumbled across ad creatives, I thought all I need to do is just put creatives in there and they'll all work. But very quickly, if you follow that strategy, you will realize that just because you are actually putting new ads into your account doesn't mean that you're going to get results, especially when you're paying $50 to $100 for a video. You don't do any research to actually understand what you should be putting in your ad. And on top of that, you don't have a team that can actually execute proper ad creatives for you. But even if you do have an incredible content creation system, you're doing tons of research to make better ads, and you have a phenomenal team underneath you, it still does not guarantee that you will find winning ad creatives to scale your account. But in today's video, what I'm going to be showing you is something that is so simple to do that literally anybody can do it. And when we actually implemented this at our agency, is something that we do every single week for our clients, our overall ad hit rate, essentially how many winning ads we're making per month, actually doubled as a result. So just to jump right in and not waste any time, the one thing that I'm actually talking about here is something called ad creative review. And now before you click off of this and be like, are you serious? This is what he's talking about? Well, I would probably guarantee you that you have not reviewed every single ad creative that you've ever ran in your account. And if you have, then this video is going to reassure you. With that said, most of you that are actually creating ads aren't even taking the time to review the ads that you make. How is it possible for you to make better ads if you're not actually taking the time to figure out what you did well and what you didn't do well? And so for example, what I want to talk about today is our exact process of how we study and how we review our ads in order to actually make better ads for our clients. Now, as you can see here, this is just an older ad for one of our brands. And what I want to do is actually help you guys understand our approach to studying ads and what we're looking for in this process in order to be able to, number one, make more winning ads, but number two, make less losing ads. And so for example, this is an ad for this client that a little while ago absolutely crushed and was an ad that was one of our top performers in the ad account and had thousands and thousands of dollars in spend. But what I'm telling you to do here is actually dive deeper and start asking yourself better questions around why this ad is winning. Now, the best part about ad review, especially after you test your ads thoroughly, you're going to know for a fact that either A, this was a winning ad and it did really well, or B, people didn't like this ad and it did not convert. So there's no question around whether or not it was a good ad or a bad ad. If the ad got spend and is performing, it's a good ad. And if the ad didn't get spend or is not performing, it's a bad ad. And so in our process, while we're reviewing ads, the very first thing that we do is we literally will sit here and we'll study the hook and just play it on repeat over and over and over again. So I'm going to watch this hook. He walks into the screen, puts the bag down, boom, that's the first hook. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch it again. Okay, the perfect hockey bag doesn't exist, boom, pause it again, go back and watch it. What I'm doing in this process is I'm just literally showing my brain this visual over and over and over again, and I'm trying to look for something that really sticks out or something that I can learn in this first hook, because again, the hook is one of the most crucial parts to your ad, and if your hook sucks, the rest of the ad is likely going to suck as well. What are we looking for here, right? Like, what are the questions that we should be asking ourselves after we've played this video over and over and we continue to watch this? Let's pause on this message. So first thing is the scene, right? The scene is essentially in this living room or in this house, and he walks onto the scene rolling the bag. So the first learning that I would take from this, knowing that this was a winning ad, is what if we did this in like a hockey locker room instead? Like, what if we put this in a better environment? And so now when I'm looking at this ad, I'm trying to figure out like, hey, how could we make this better, right? Even though it's a winning ad, I want to know what could we do to potentially make it better. And so for me, because I'm obviously selling a hockey bag here, I'm wondering, what if we put this inside of an ice rink? Or what if we do this in the place where people would actually be rolling in, which for a lot of people is going to be the locker room, right? So that's one thing that what I would do is I would go ahead and write that down. And now when it comes to actually storing this stuff down, you don't need to overcomplicate it. Literally just have a super quick and dirty Google Doc and just put 2 categories here for learnings and ideas. That's all you need to do. You don't need to get fancy. You can just continue to add onto this document. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna take a look at now something different. Like, let's say, for example, let's go ahead and take a look at the messaging. So the perfect hockey bag doesn't exist, and and it has this emoji. What I'm thinking here is this is obviously more of like a product aware or potentially a problem aware as well. Now, for those of you that don't know anything about market awareness levels or marketing desires, I'd highly encourage you to join our free community down below, where I talk more about marketing fundamentals and overall buyer psychology. But when I'm looking at this ad, what I mean by this is a product aware / problem aware style hook is that I'm calling out the product directly in the hook, right? I'm saying the perfect hockey bag. So I'm not saying like, what is this? Like this is some magical, I'm calling it out right away that this is a hockey bag. And I'm saying as well that the perfect one doesn't exist, ... So this is making the assumption that people are potentially not happy with their hockey bags. And there's a lot of problems with hockey bags. And this one is perfect, right? Because what we're saying here is like perfect hockey bag doesn't exist. Oh, wait, hold on. What is this? Right? And so when I'm thinking of this hook, I'm like, not only am I product aware and being very clear about what I'm selling, I'm also then alluding that there's a problem with the other hockey bags that are on the market. All right, now if we go back into the learning stock, again, I've just jotted down some more things. So there's clearly a problem with traditional hockey bags on the market. You know, this is more product aware ad calling out the product specifically. And one thing that I wrote down here is that I should probably do more research on what makes, you know, traditional hockey bags not so good, right? And then obviously this client and this product in general, you're going to have a better understanding. Like the reason why this client made the product is because of that. But if we dive deeper into that, we might be able to find better angles there. Now, one other note that I made while I was kind of brainstorming here or just writing things down is that I love the way that this hook starts, because as we're looking at it, it's like it's setting the scene and it's like we're waiting for something to happen, right? Like the first second, there's nothing on screen. It's just an empty room. And it almost kind of gives me that vibe of like, you know, in those scary movies or like when you're watching the car like drive around the hill. Hopefully my editors can pop that on screen. But when they're driving around the hill and it's like, boom, that scary face like comes on the screen and it's like giving that kind of vibe. And so it's really hooking me in to be like, why is there just a video of like a wall and a floor and some outlets? Like that's kind of weird. And then boom, he walks into the scene. I'm looking at it with the mindset of why is this ad doing so well? Another thing that I really like about this ad as well is the fact that it's a rolling bag. And that is something, because I've taken the time to do research before, that maybe again, if I didn't know this and I was going out and doing more research after this around maybe rolling hockey bags, that is something where I know rolling hockey bags can stir up a lot of discussion in the comments. And you can see there's over 100 comments here of people saying that kind of stuff, which I'm going to get to in a second. But inside of here, you know, it's like he's rolling that hockey bag onto the actual screen. And on top of that, we're saying that this is the perfect one. And so for some people that are in the hockey culture, if we're saying that this is the perfect hockey bag, but then we're rolling it on wheels and we're not carrying it, that also might stir up some commotion or might grab people's attention once again. Now, one of the best things that you can do, and I kind of alluded to it there, is that you can scroll down and you can actually start reading comments from people to get even more ideas. For example, as you can see, this person left a comment that said, I have two now, one for ice and one for roller. Best bags I've ever had. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go and jot those down in my learnings doc. And as I was mentioning while I was processing learnings there, this person left a comment that said, true hockey players actually carry their bags. They don't wheel them around. So again, these are things that I'm going to jot down. And now we're not even looking at the ad anymore. We're more in the comment section. But the main thing is like everything is working together, right? And so now that we studied the hook, and I'm telling you, hopefully by me just going through this painfully, you're starting to see how these ideas are coming through, right? And again, let's go ahead and keep watching the ad. And now this is where I would stop and watch essentially the second screen. And as you can see, the next text that comes on screen is choose from wheel or carry model. And so that is something that's really interesting to me, because we're essentially saying like, hey, we also have another model as well that you can carry, but this one just happens to have wheels. So for example, again, going back to my learnings doc, an idea that I might have here is let's just do the same exact ad, but have him walk in with a carry bag, right? That's something that we could potentially test, and then we could inverse it and say choose from wheel or carry, or choose from carry or wheel. And so as you can see, just by taking 5 to 10 minutes here to sit down and just look at the hook, we haven't even made it into the rest of the ad, which is something that again, you can go further and study. We're starting to fill up a bit of a document here of new ideas and learnings that are helping us better understand what is resonating with the market and what they want to see. The biggest thing that I want you to take away from this brief little example of me studying this ad, that it's not about you creating ads that you like. It's about creating ads that your customers are going to love. For anybody that's ever played sports, I want to refer this as kind of like game tape, where you go back and you rewatch your, what you did before, and you're like, how can I make this better? Or where did I mess up? Or what went wrong? And what did we do well? And essentially building a document around this stuff to help you do more of the good and less of the bad. For example, here's an ad that we created that totally flopped. And by actually studying this and looking at it, we're able to better understand why we think this didn't do well, right? You're never going to know for sure. And that's probably one of the biggest hacks, is actually collaborating with other people during this process so you can get other ideas flowing as well. But for example, having a headline like this that says this is expensive doesn't tell me anything about the product, right? Maybe it's going to draw me in, but again, one thing that I know for sure is that this ad didn't work. And so saying that this is expensive, and now that I'm looking at it, it's kind of hard to read. And then I see this massive wall of text underneath. And again, this was a specific style of ad that we were going for, and we were basically doing an imitation of another ad that did perform really well. At the end of the day, we didn't execute it well for this brand. And on top of that, it may not just make sense for this brand, because we're selling a product that is literally a necklace that starts fires and sharpens their knives. So the fact that we're just calling out this is expensive, and that's probably the only thing that people are reading, because now when I'm looking at this image over and over, I'm trying to figure out like, why am I in this mysterious forest, and like, what am I even looking at? What's this little thing sticking out on the side? Like, I don't even know what this is. And so for example, if I was someone that had never seen this, again, I was not aware of this product, this is expensive, I'm like, okay, cool, I don't care. And I just keep scrolling. And so sometimes when we can compare what a winning ad looks like for our client and a losing ad looks like, we can start to see where we maybe missed the mark. Now, with all of that said, the main takeaway here again is take the time to do the boring stuff. Take the time to sit down like I just did and review your ads and try to figure out what makes them good. If you're just constantly putting ads into your account and you're not taking the time to actually review them and study them to figure out why they worked or why they didn't, your entire strategy relies on you hopefully finding a winning ad. And you ask me, I don't want to get lucky when I create a winning ad. I want to have a full intention that I'm creating a winning ad, execute it because I know what to do and what not to do, and then actually see more winning ads in my account. So the biggest takeaway from today is, again, do the boring stuff, study your ads, winner or loser, and I can almost guarantee it will make you a lot more money. If you struggle with ad creatives and you want a team to do this for you, I'd also encourage you to check the top link in the description and apply to work with our agency, where we can produce creatives each and every single week for your business that will ultimately scale your Facebook ad account further. Again, thank you so much for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you next week.